It is 3 in the morning. Gonna be picking up some steel frames in Escondido, California, and gonna be delivering 2 steel frames over to Phoenix, Arizona, and then gonna be making a pit stop in Yuma because the trucking business basically we had to have someone posted up in Phoenix to cover a lot of the local work that was being brought forth. So there's a shitload of construction up there. In case any of you guys are from the area, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But yeah, gonna be delivering it to Phoenix, pit stop in Yuma. Gonna be checking out some rentals because yeah, we got some land up there, so there's really no need for me to be renting up there anymore, because if there's going to be some local work that needs to be done in Phoenix, then we could just we basically already have a base camp over in the Phoenix area for the trucks and what have you. And yeah, when I come back down, I'm gonna be checking out, I want to say like 5 to 6 rentals that my girlfriend had made an appointment on to check out, and we're gonna see which one best suits us and what have you. And yeah, the topic of today's video, we're gonna be talking about at least in my opinion, a realistic way to manage risk if you're of the entrepreneurial nature, and you're seeking to do something of grandeur for yourself. I believe a real strategy that me and my family are very, very fortunate enough to have been privileged with is to have inherited land to us from my grandparents, which gives us a huge peace of mind. And that's exactly what we're going to be talking about today, and how you could position yourself to have this peace of mind, especially if you're of the entrepreneurial spirit and you're going to be taking on quote unquote huge amounts of risk, and how you could mentally minimize shit hitting the fan, and you basically have a retreat, a safe haven. So that's what we're going to be jumping into. If you're in a position in your life where you can be, where between you, some close buddies you're with, or some family that you honestly do trust very, very close to you, and you can speak to them in not only a pragmatic and objective way that they can get behind you, but also in terms of a vision and mission of what you guys want to do on that land, I highly suggest that you guys do so. And I'm going to give you an example for us. We're going to be developing 40 acres of inherited land, and I know, yes, it is inherited. We're very lucky. I'm not going to sit here and fucking pretend like we didn't hit the ancestral lottery with that, because we did. So I'm not going to sit here and pretend like everyone has inherited land. That's just not realistic. However, I can share with you me and my family's mental state in being privileged of having access to this amount of land, and what it could do for you mentally. And if you do your due diligence, you can get a really, really good deal on a lot of land. The problem is, and this is just like anything, if you're looking to be a real estate investor, that let's say into single family homes, that the way you would make the most money is by putting sweat equity. So finding a shitty house and then investing some money in it, let's say 40 grand on a, $260,000 house. You put 40 grand and it's 300, you're in 300 grand, but it's worth, let's just say 400,000. Now you have $100,000 in equity. You can apply those same principles to land, which is cheaper, way more plentiful, right? And it's definitely going to be a lower monthly payment. And if you work with close buddies or close family members that you genuinely, you're very tight with, you can trust that they will do everything in their means to be able to make the minimum monthly payment on that property, on a property that you guys can declare safe haven. I believe that's one of the best choices you can make in your life. Just to give you guys a situation on my situation, my family situation. We're a family of 5, family trucking business, and we've been very privileged to have a client that serves us very well. We have access to these. We've been privileged enough to, on my mother's side, to be inherited with some 40 acres completely paid off from my grandparents. Now, even though they didn't develop anything on that land, they had the vision of doing what I'm talking about, which is having a safe haven. They were putting, an RV, and there were 2 RVs. It was between him and some other guy, and they were basically gonna live off grid on it, do everything hush hush under the radar. But we're gonna do things right. We're really gonna develop the land. We're thinking of making a storage business on the land. But that's not even like that. That is exciting, right? Developing a business on land that you own. That's great. But really, the main bread and butter, I would say the fruits of my grandparents purchasing this land and passing it on to my mother, and my mother to us, is the peace of mind that if shit hits the fan, hey, at least we can, we could even take it a step further. If I really, really have to, I could be living in my car on my land, let's say with 10-gallon water tanks just to get by. But my personal, if shit hits the fan plan, would be to get an RV, post it up on my land, have enough water reserves. You know what I mean? Just do the bare minimum. Be underneath shade because we're in the Southwest, and do what I have to do on my paid off land to get back on my feet and get my shit back together. That's if, right? That's if, a chronic, God forbid, knock on wood, but, a chronic illness happens to me or one of my brothers, they could put their house for sale, go in an RV, live on the land, and we're all family. It's not like we're going to have a problem with one of us doing what we have to do to get back up on our feet, and obviously supporting each other. But having that peace of mind, knowing, especially if you're the entrepreneurial spirit, in which you're going to be, dabbling into a venture that is quote unquote risky, or trying to make something of yourself in an area you're not too familiar with, or maybe you are, but you never know. So having that land is really having a peace of mind of a safe haven. And I do believe that land can do that for you. And even if you, like in this case, yes, I'm not going to fucking sit here and pretend that I'm not fortunate enough that it was paid off and inherited. I'm not stupid. I understand that. That's a huge privilege. But land is 100% cheaper than owning. You know, you'll see all these fucking real estate guys saying, you know, just buy a single family home, just get into multifamily, and it's like, you look at the profit margins of multifamily, and it's so slim. It's not even worth all the fucking liability. You know what I mean? Like, if you're gonna tap into a business venture, it's got to be quote unquote riskier than that, and it better give you a higher return than those slim ass margins to be dealing with people's bull crap. And you know, times change. The average cost of a single family home now is what, $500,000. So, and the median U.S. income is $50,000 a year. So you have to be making $70,000. So there's a discrepancy there. You have to be making $70,000 to $80,000 to afford a house, the average cost of a house. Yet the average take-home pay is $50,000, and that's not even including taxes. So you got to adapt with the times, and something I'm noticing, and this is something me and my oldest brother. So it's me, I'm the youngest, and then my medium brother, and then there's the oldest. And I was having a conversation with the oldest that it looks like people are returning back to pragmatism. People are returning back to the basics. You know, I looked at my brother, for example. Or I'm not going to get into that because that's too personal. But people are going back to the basics of what worked. You know, people are conservatism is essentially the new rebellion in a sense, because I feel like my generation, so I'm 22, turning 23 in October. I feel like my generation, and especially the millennial generation, we're looking for financial freedom. That's something that I feel like we're heavily invested into. And we just know that the so-called traditional path of, and you know, this is something more people are noticing, like the traditional ways that our parents, you know, our parents' and even our parents, not mine, thankfully, they were actually very open-minded people, but the majority of people's, right? The traditional route just isn't working the same with the cost of, with the cost of everything. Like I said, the average cost of a home, the median salary, the social pressures and what have you. So people are looking for different strategies on how to be more at financial peace. So this is why, you know, tiny homes and this whole van life is becoming popular, because people are looking for a way to have some financial control and freedom in their life, and one way to do that is by lowering your means of, and that's something I know Dave Ramsey talks about. He's always like beans and rice and shit, which is correct to a degree, right? You do have to live below your means if you do want to be, you know, stuff your pockets for a bit, you know, invest it into something. That's just something you inevitably have to do. But I believe land is such a great, not only financial investment, but I would say investment of peace of mind, for the exact reason I just told you. So if you're a single guy, and the average take-home pay is $50,000, you buy some land. You know, you hook up an RV on that land, and your state, or you do it on the hush-hush, or your state does allow, you know, some off-grid living. I say do it. You know, if you have a girlfriend, it is going to be a little more complicated, because then you have to take two people's opinions into account, right? But if you're the single guy and you're able to be more mobile, more fluid in your life, and you have a really, really good social ties with friends or family, I'd say owning land is one of the best things you can do for peace of mind and having a retreat. I think that's huge. I genuinely think that's one of the best things